Wilson Fisk, the mayor of New York City, is broken, and whatever shred of decency that may have been left in him has been completely wiped. His rage and anger towards superheroes has reached new heights, but is Kingpin even aware of the danger that he has bestowed to his beloved city? And what will happen if Fisk remembers the catalyst to what originally began his crusade, his Devil's Reign? Devil's Reign, issue number 4, is definitely a turning point within the story, as the comic deals and highlights the ramifications of the superheroes' attack from the previous issue. New York City is completely unrecognizable. The world in which Stan Lee and Jack Kirby envisioned superheroes to be flying around and crawling on huge buildings and are echoed in every single page, within a world where Wilson Fisk and his Thunderbolts would refer to Marvel's romanticism as something childish. And so by having this vibe whilst reading this issue was definitely sad, and yet it also rang somewhat true, basically reminding that the world has changed and that it will continue to do so. However, when we have scenes of superheroes breaking out of Fisk's prison, it also makes it clear that yes, the world is changing, but it doesn't mean that the world will be without heroes, people who are willing to do what is right. The issue is also extremely gritty, not in the bloody sense, but more so as a warning for what's to come. More specifically, when Wilson Fisk remembers that Matt Murdock is Daredevil. The book's final page is legitimately terrifying, and it definitely will fill the readers with fear of what's to come. When it comes to the book's art, it's amazingly gorgeous. Marco Tichetto's images and Zdarsky's script go hand to hand in this. Every character is bringing a visual feast of emotions, from Daredevil to Rhino to Doc Ock and the Kingpin. Emotion on all levels are being emoted, to where you as the reader will feel the might of Kingpin's rage and that of Daredevil's guilt. And it's simply due to the power that Tichetto puts on the page. His pens and fantastic details truly make the reader and the drawings connected in a very powerful way. And honestly, one of the most spectacular images that I want framed within my mind going forward is every panel featuring the Rhino. His gray suit, possessing the tone of an actual rhinoceros, is fucking incredible. Like, all in all, designing the Rhino suit should, ideally be pretty simple. Yet Marco Tichetto's masterful detail, along with Menz's colors, make Rhino look absolutely incredible. Chef's kiss times 3000. Overall, though Devil's Reign issue number 4 possesses the least of amount of action, it doesn't need it. The story progresses enough to keep the reader enthralled, but what the comic managed to do amazingly is to make you, the reader, feel helpless. But whether it be Susan Storm breaking out of her cell, or Rhino not wanting to kill kids, hope prevails. Yet so too does the rage of Wilson Fisk. Devil's Reign issue number 4 gets a 9.5 out of 10. Issue number 4 picks us up 2 weeks after the previous issue, after the failed attack made by the superheroes against Fisk. And ever since the attack, a new law has been put into effect, where groups of security drones are flying around the city, making sure people aren't wearing masks and are not breaking any laws. However, because of this, it's basically freaking everyone out, causing fear towards the people in New York. But luckily, Daredevil is the man without fear, and thus he is willing to continue the fight and bringing down Wilson Fisk. Afterwards, we pick up with Fisk, who's having a conversation with Dr. Octopus, and they're discussing about power. And he's wondering on why Dr. Octopus didn't just take the crown for himself from the start. Like, if you were going to go after me, why didn't you just do it in the beginning? Now, it's through their talk where we learn that yes, Fisk is still the mayor, but all that is a facade, because the person who's actually in power is Dr. Octopus. Kingpin is under his thumb. Now, Doc Ock responds, telling him that yes, you are obsessed with power, at least the concept of it. But whereas I, Doc Ock, I'm using your power, your resources, in making the world a safer place, a better place. And because of that, the city's crime is now at an all-time low. However, with that being the case, it also means that Wilson Fisk's son, Butch, has been arrested. From there, we switch scenes over to the hospital, where Daredevil is checking in on Foggy Nelson, who had his ass handed to him by Fisk's people in the previous issue. Now, because of his Catholic guilt, Matt is feeling extremely bad as to what happened. But Foggy tries to cheer him up, telling him that, I made my own choice, I took the risks just like you, so, please stop making this about you, bro. I, Foggy Nelson, absolve you of your sins. Outside, Daredevil sees Mike walking down the hall, keeping up with his persona as Matthew Murdock, and he's bringing Foggy some flowers. But Daredevil basically gives him shit, saying, "Yo dude, I saw you with Butch, the kingpin of crime. You're a grifter, so you better stop whatever it is that you're trying to do, because in the end, I'm gonna stop you." And with Mike walking off being angry, Daredevil is met by his lawyer, Christine, and their conversation basically entails that Daredevil might have to accept the fact that in order to end this nightmare, he may have to kill Wilson Fisk. He may have to murder his greatest enemy. And that's what picks us up with Wilson Fisk standing about with his team of Thunderbolts, and he's prepping his team for a mission, sending them off to find the Purple Man's children. Now, US Agent, he's all about following orders, like he's all about that life. However, if children are brought up, then that's a whole new line that, he'll have to cross. And so he's asking whether or not this is right or wrong, because I never signed up to hunt down kids. But it's here where Fisk displays his power of persuasion, using the Purple Man's power within his cane to persuade US Agent to shut the fuck up and to follow orders. Meanwhile, Susan Storm gets some much-deserved payback, as she's able to unlock herself and Reed from their cells, to which Reed, being the original inventor of the power dampening collars, is able to deactivate them via a failsafe. And from there, Susan Storm and Reed break free and are able to free the other heroes who have also been captured, including Moon Knight. And by the way, Moon Knight's mask looks absolutely terrifying. Like, holy crap, this guy's insane. While on the other side of town, Mayor Fisk is freeing his son Butch from prison. Now, it's obvious through this action that Fisk is really trying to show Butch that he actually does care about him. But Butch ain't buying any of this, because at the end of the day, he hates his father, and he understands why his mom kept him away from him all this time. But more importantly, Butch knows that Fisk isn't really in power, and that the true person in power is Dr. Octopus. Basically, Fisk is his puppet, while Doc Ock is the puppeteer. And no, I don't mean this guy. But by the way, attention Fantastic Four writers, bring back Puppet Master. That man deserves justice. Now this is where we pick up with the champions, Marvel's Teen Titans, and they're all facing off against Rhino. However, what's strange about this fight is Rhino is telling the young heroes that he isn't trying to fight them, and that he's not here to fight. But of course, none of them believe him, because, Rhino's a villain. Since when has he ever had a change of heart? But when a crowd of drones show up to assist Rhino's fight, Rhino places a Thunderbolt badge on Miles Morales, which immediately showcases the drones are unable to identify Miles as the threat. And Rhino, being the smartest character in the entire Marvel Universe, sense my sarcasm there, he tells the group that the badges serve as a sort of cloaking device, a form of Wi-Fi for the drones to identify on who's on Fisk's side. Now everyone from Miles to Viz to Miss Marvel are wondering as to why Rhino is changing sides. Like, why is he willing to tell us this information? To which Rhino admits that, sure, he may not be the greatest guy, but when someone like Fisk orders you to hunt down children, then you're probably a heartless bastard if you agree to do it. Essentially, Rhino, despite being an asshole, he does have morals. To which the champions are like, wait, what children? And that's when we instantly change scenes to the hero's hideout, where Miles, after hearing what Rhino told him, made his way over as fast as he could to inform the heroes that Fisk is hunting down the Purple Man's children, who are somewhere within the city. Because at the moment, Fisk is only able to subtly control the minds of the people, but with the children, fresh prospects, ideally, he could control the entire city, and quite possibly the entire world. Later that night, we check back in with Wilson Fisk, and he's basically just winding down from a day of getting shitted on. So yeah, we're seeing Big Willie here relax and chill, minus the Netflix. And eventually Typhoid Mary walks in to check in, and Fisk tells her about his obsession with power. And no matter how much power he has, his feelings of hatred and his need for revenge is causing him nothing but pain. And so he can't understand or comprehend his emotional state, because at the end of the day, with having Typhoid Mary in his life, he shouldn't be having these feelings. Now Typhoid in her own weird way is trying to cheer him up, telling Fisk that, she can relate to the concept of what he means. But because of her years of treatment and trauma, there are some things that she just can't remember, including their first encounter. And so Fisk, without really thinking about it, wishes for her to remember, and she immediately begins to remember her lost thoughts. Now Fisk is like, WTF, I didn't know I can do that with the Purple Man's powers. until without a single passing second, he rushes up to the rooftop where it is downpouring, and he gets on his knees as if he's ready to receive First Communion from God himself. And from there, Fisk enacts his power from his cane, and he says one word: remember. And it's within this moment where the game changes. For Wilson Fisk, the kingpin of crime, the mayor of New York City, and the arch nemesis of Daredevil, manages to remember Daredevil's identity. With immense rage and anger, Wilson Fisk is born again, and he plans to destroy Daredevil. He plans to destroy Matt Murdock. And that, folks, was the end of Devil's Reign, issue number 4. And thank you guys for checking out my video, as it truly means the world to me. And as always, I'm your majestic sayer over at SuperCliff, and if you guys are new to my channel, then do me a solid by smashing that like and subscribe button, and also hit that notification bell so that you'll never miss out on an upload, and so that you'll always be kept up to date with your favorite top tier comics happening in the comic book world. Now tell me, what are your thoughts and opinions on this issue? Are you guys excited for issue number 5? Let me know down in the comment section below. And until the next video, peace.